Hello there, I'm Brit and I'm broadcasting out of the UK. Welcome to my channel, and as you know, I'm Jack of all trades, master of none, and I tend to talk about a lot of different subjects based on what I hear, what I see, what I chat about, what people send to me. It could be anything. So if you're looking for consistency, this is not the channel. But if you're looking for anything that's going to kind of make you think, I didn't know that, or that sounds interesting, then this is the right channel for you. So you can put your thumb up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, subscribe, share, comment. Now, today's video was based on a conversation I was having with a friend of mine, and we were talking about raving, and she was saying that anytime she meet somebody at a rave and she wants to, and they establish a relationship, after a while that guy doesn't want to rave anymore. He just wants to lock down with her, and she says she loves raving. She wants to go out and rave with him. She tells him up front that she wants to rave and she loves raving, and therefore that's the condition upon which the relationship can exist. So regardless of her saying all of that, she meets somebody, they hit it off, starts off really well, and then all of a sudden he just wants to lock down, just wants to be with her, doesn't want to go out anymore. And I was saying to her, well, maybe it's because when a man goes to a rave, he goes there, you've got different types, and I'm going to tell you what they are. But the single man, if he goes to a rave, he's going to go to a rave to find someone. And when he meets that someone, he doesn't really feel the need to go out and rave, because after all, what is the point? He's got what he's gone there for. They're in a relationship, so he doesn't see the point in raving. So she didn't quite understand that. So she's saying, well, look, I've told him up front, I need to go out. It doesn't have to be a rave, but we need to go out. So that's what made me think about this video. I was kind of thinking, what can you find love in a rave? What types of people do you find in a rave? And what is the objective of raves? I think those were the three main things. Anyway, first thing, if you're looking for a relationship, especially in the black community, the best place is a rave, to be honest, because not many people are going to go to the library, or you might meet somebody on a bus, you might see somebody in a shop, but it's unlikely. You have these dating apps, but you don't know who's on the other side. So many catfishes, and sometimes people put pictures up, they don't look nothing like what they say, and you can usually tell when you meet somebody exactly what they're like. You can't really get that on a dating app. So black people kind of, even though a lot of them use it and some of them are successful, I think getting that instant chemistry and, sampling before you buy kind of thing, as you would in a dance hall. Because when you go to a rave, and what I mean by rave, I'm not talking about the illegal raves, because I didn't realise a rave in police terms is an illegal rave, whereas we as black people just use it flippantly. For me, what I'm talking about, the rave I'm talking about, is a dance, party, club, social event, whatever it is, where they got DJs and you're playing music and you're rub-a-dub and all that kind of thing. So what I'm saying is that when a lot of people go to a rave, they tend to go to not only enjoy themselves, listen to music, but usually they're hoping to meet somebody, have someone to dance with, and that kind of stuff. And you get to see that person firsthand. They're in the living flesh. You can look at them from head to toe. You can tell whether or not you like their shoes, whether or not you like the way they're dressed, if a woman is too fat, if she's too If you don't like her hair, you can tell. You've got the visual right in front of you. Whereas when you're dating online, you know, they can mask their faces, they can highlight them and do all sorts of things that changes who they really are. So people like to go to a rave, and it's the best place to meet someone. And if you break up, you just say, I'm going to go to a rave, you're going to meet somebody. So it's an easy place to start a relationship. And like my partner always says, it can be a life-changing event when you go to a rave. Because, you know, you meet somebody, next thing you know, you're exchanging numbers, next thing you know, you're dating, next thing you know, picking a barn, getting married, not necessarily in all that order, but going to a rave can change your life if you buck up on the right person, or even if you buck up on the wrong person, it can change your life adversely. So, what are the options for Black people? Like I said, you know, you can meet your partner at work. Not likely, but it's possible. In transit, when you're traveling on the bus, on the train, shopping, that's a possibility too. I wouldn't recommend it, but it can happen. You've got the library, social club, and like I said, different types of events. You can meet through that way. And then you've got the social media and dating sites, which, like I said, you don't know who's on the other side. So, who are you going to meet at a rave? Well, 70% are either players or they're married. And the players are just looking for somebody who, you know, they're boosting their ego probably. They just want somebody who looks good, looking for trophy women. And, you know, they haven't really got the intention to commit to anyone. They just want to see if they can pull. If they pull and if they score, that's a notch on their belt. And then, of course, you've got the married ones who, you know, who go out, you know, because they're either bored at home or their wife ain't giving them a bit or whatever. So they go out and they need their ego massaging. So they go out. And then, of course, you have the single men, 30%. And probably, usually the single men are more. But talking about the men now, 30% are those who are either who've been pulled out by their friends. Their friends are saying, look, you know, we are staying a yard for. Come on, man. Get some fresh air and find someone for dance with. You might have a relationship. And they're kind of cajoled into the dance floor, into the rave, but they're not really ravers. They just happen to be at a rave. And it just happen when they go to the rave, they happen to see somebody they like, but they're not really ravers. So you have and then you have the single men who like to rave. They've got everything going for them. They're confident. They've got their own house. They have their own yard. They're self-sufficient. They don't really want a woman, but you know, every now and then they feel they want some company, so they find one to entice, and that doesn't last very long either. So you've got different types. So and as you know, relationships tend to be so disposable these days. But when you go to these dances and you go to the same place, you know, you're seeing the same faces, people know you get to know who's who, that kind of stuff. So that's who you're going to meet at a rave. So there's 3 types of people I've got here who rave. Those who rave all the time, those who rave on special occasions, and those who rave because pressured by friends. Like I said, they could be married or single. What about the nature of those at a rave? Well, you've got the superficial ones who are looking for beauty and somebody who's got a really good figure, dresses really immaculately, nails done, shoes look good, everything look crisp, everything clean, as they say. And so you have those type of women, and you also have women who look for a certain type of man who smell good, look good, crisp, well coordinated, and that kind of stuff. So you have those, the superficial. I call them superficial because they're very visual. and they go to a rave because they're looking for a particular type of person that looks a certain way. You also have those who go to a rave who are looking for the more natural woman, um, somebody who they feel looks like the type who was settled down, and they're kind of obscure, unassuming, and you'll find men who are looking for that type of woman. And then you'll find the type of people who they're looking for somebody based on a vibe. It's got nothing to do with the way they look, or it's got more to do with the way they behave. The vibe, whether they're confident, show self-esteem, them have that kind of attitude, they can draw attention. And sometimes you look for people like that. So, like I said, the types we find in the rave are the player. Player one. The player one doesn't want to commit, but he wants to enjoy the moment with a person and then moves on. Probably goes to a rave hoping that he'll score. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, he'll wait till the next rave. Player two wants to see how many women are attracted to him, and he plays on that. He's a type that might lie, cheat. He goes swimming when, he feels like it. He's not really interested in anybody in particular. He's just kind of boosting his ego. He always looks good. He always smells sweet, but he's emotionally unavailable. Then you have the married person one. Married person one needs his ego massaged, seeks attention outside the marriage, goes to a rave to see if he can still pull. You've got the married person two. He's unhappy in the marriage. He's financially tied in. He's waiting for the kids to grow up. He needs love and nurturance, and sometimes going to a rave and just dancing with a woman satisfied that temporary gap that he's not getting at home. Then you have single person one, who is fulfilled, has a house, job, car, reasonable amount of money, self-sufficient. That person wants some company, but is frightened that that person is going to, if he meets somebody, they're going to try to control them. They're worried that they're going to lose their independence. They're worried that that person is going to take something away from them. They're worried whether the person is going to use them. So they have, even though they're all together in a sense, they just operate in fear. So they've got everything they need. They do want a partner, but they're worried about what kind of partner they're going to get. Not very optimistic about relationships. So in that kind of relationship, it's a push and pull. 1 minute they want you, the next minute they don't. They're not sure, then they are sure, and that kind of stuff. You have single person two. That person is seeking to settle down. Tends to overlook shortcomings in a partner. Whether they have kids, whether they have debt, whether they're unemployed. They're like, I'm not really too bothered about that. I just know you're a good woman. You're the type of woman I want, and I just want to settle down with you. And they seek ways to improve someone's life. Goes to a rave hoping to find that special person. And those type of people, those type of men in particular, are more likely to be drawn to somebody and get hurt, because normally the type of women that they're drawn to think that that's the type of person they want, only to find later down the line that it's not. So the single person three is psychologically damaged, hurt by love, afraid to enter into a relationship, a bit like single person number one, but this actually overtakes their life. They have attachment issues. They want to have a relationship, but they can't or if they do, it's very short-lived, because, like I said, they're not very giving. They don't have an open heart. They have a lot of things going on, resentment, bitterness, that kind of stuff. So they're not open to love. They want to love, but they haven't healed their wounds. And so those kind of things, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they don't want to give, they don't want to trust, they've been hurt, and so they hold back, and then so the same thing is like it recycles that behavior. So the relationship tends to peter out anyway. And then they say, oh, that's why I didn't want to get in a relationship. I knew this would happen. And it does, because you're putting it out there. So, the type of women who rave. Women 1. Women who look beautiful, hair done, nails manicured, expensive looking clothes. But when you go to their home, it's frugal, young children around the place. And a friend of mine was telling me that he went out with this woman. And, he didn't go out with this woman. He met this woman at a dance. Beautiful woman, fit and everything right. You know what I mean? Everything in its right place. Anyway, them dance all night, and next thing you know, he's going back to her place. See him night enough. So it did go. But he ends up at her place. When she opened up the door, he sees a pitney in front of the TV. And it was quite a time ago because the national anthem was playing. But the pitney is in the buggy, watching the TV, eating a Farley's rusk. All the dribble down and half asleep. Them hours of the morning, you know. She left the pitney in front of the TV with a Farley's rusk. Was she gone go real? Because she can't find no one to look after the pitney. I'm just like, what? I've heard of neglect, but anyway. That's woman number 1. Look good, look crisp. When you go a yard, it not look too pretty. Woman number 2. Woman who looks beautiful when well manicured. And she might like attention. Her house is in order. You know, nothing complains. She might drive a nice car. Maybe not necessarily looking for a man, but if she is, that man better come up with the goods, or else he ain't getting in and he ain't getting none. So could be considered critical, high maintenance, that type of woman. And that could end up with in being a relationship like a friend with benefits, because there's not a real man out there who can actually satisfy that woman. Then you have woman number 3. She doesn't normally go to the rave. She's been asked by a friend. She has no expectations. So, what is the nature of women at raves? And I'd love to hear your comment about this video, because I'm just kind of putting thoughts out there. And I know it's not running cohesively, but I'm hoping it can make some sense and that you can relate to a little part of it. So, you've got the nature of women that raves, the serial players or the serial ravers. Them just have to rave every week, you know, them can't not rave. And they can be flirtatious, they can play, they don't really want anything serious. They're just having fun and enjoying themselves, not causing any harm. They're just having a good time. You've got those women who go to raves who are looking for love and open to love. You've got those who go to raves who've got low self-esteem and who are desperate. They're the ones who are creating them. They can look to see if anybody will look upon them. And if a man will look upon them, they'll start kicking up and, you know, do all that kind of business. You know the woman. The one that you kind of say, oh, nah man, she too extra. She'll come on too strong. Them kind of woman. And then you have the ones who are bitter, hurt, and resentful. And they're the ones that sit down probably on one of the sofas or one of the chairs, or they stand up in a corner, they're more long and them just so screw, and you ask yourself, what the hell are they doing here? Why don't they even bother to come out? Those same women are looking for somebody to break through that barrier. Then put on the face, they are hurt, they are resentful, they have been hurt. And they're hoping a man will come along and just change their opinion. But the sad thing about that is that a man, sometimes men see that type of woman as a challenge, and they do break through the barrier and they do build the trust. But it's a game for them. And then once I break down that barrier, and that woman, that hard, grimacing woman, turns sweet and tricky like honey and softens, And that is the time them say, boy, will become kadat, megan, and it perpetuates the cycle. So when you're going to a rave, it's not just going to a rave. People think it's going to a rave. Well, it is in a sense. You know, you put on your clothes. You know, you hope you make sure you know the right sound is playing. You make sure you look good. You go with your brethren or your girlfriends, and you step out. In the back of your mind, if you're single, you're hoping that you're going to meet somebody. If you're not single and you're going with a partner, that's totally different. But this really relates to the single people who they can go to a rave thinking that they're just going to a rave to enjoy themselves, and who knows what they're going to buck up on. Even women who are in relationships and they go out with their girlfriends and they say to their partner, look, my friends have asked me to go out. You're safe, baby. I love you. Nothing ain't gonna happen. I just want to go out with my mates. And the man said, boy, are you sure? Why you need to go to a rave? And she's saying, oh, don't be so bloody possessive. I just want to rave. Just let me go to a rave. And he'll say, yeah, okay then, baby. I trust you. And off she goes to the rave. And this can work on both ways with men as well. They go off to the rave without no intention whatsoever to meet somebody. But there again, when you think about a rave is about, especially, one of them our type of raves, like Lovers Rock, Rave and all that. What's the point of going there and standing up? There's no point. Or sitting down. You go there for get smoochy, don't you? So, as a single person as a person in a relationship who decides to go with their friends to a rave, or even married people who decide to leave their spouse at home and go to a rave, you'll find that they, if a man pull them for dance, they feel good. They're like, boy, my old man at home, he don't dance with me, he don't hold me, he don't hug me up. I'm not going to take this dance, man. It's only a dance. That's what a lot of them say. It's only a dance. So you get into this dance now, and the man or the woman feel good, and them smell nice, and them hold you and them rub themselves by you, and you're just like, bloody hell, man. He's nice, or she's gorgeous. And you don't have that intention. You don't have that intention to get involved with anybody but that person. It's so many years, so I've never seen you here before. No, I don't come out really. Oh, so what's your name? Oh, my name is so-and-so. So, what about you? Oh, I don't come out much either. And then he says, boy, I really like the way you look. And I like the vibe I'm getting from you. And she's saying, well, she's thinking in her head, yeah, but me have my mind a yard. Yeah, but I'm seeing someone. So if you're seeing somebody, what are you doing out here then? Why are you dancing with me if you're seeing somebody? So what, you live with him? Yeah, I'm living with him, but I just came out with my mates. And he's like, that sells kind of bells. Bells start ringing. So you have a man, you're in a rave, dancing with me, a wine and a grind, and you have your man a yard. Yeah, there's nothing in it, we're just talking. Anyway, next thing you know, what starts off as innocent, him says something, and that person, or even the way men also, when a woman responds in a certain way, it can just catch them. The woman doesn't know what it is, but there's something in what women say sometimes that a man will say, boy, I really like this woman, And it's the same with a man. A man will say something at a certain point, and a woman will say, boy, he's really nice. And so what happens? What was most supposed to be just a dance? Exchange numbers. Curiosity gets the better of you. Next thing you know, you're having an affair. Didn't intend to. And the same thing that the partner was saying, do you have to go? And you're saying, no, man, it's fine. Things can get out of hand. That's why raves are a life life-changing event. You do not know what's going to happen at the end of it. And even if you're in what you think is a happy relationship, somebody can whisk you off. Somebody's just got to say the right things at the right time, and everything mash up. And it's not intentional. But anyway, with all these dynamics, are raves the best place to meet potential mates? So, having said all of that, you've met somebody, you think they're okay, they think you're okay, you don't know what baggage they've got, you don't know what they're hiding, you don't know what kind of pain they're going through, you don't know if they're healed or unhealed, you're just going with the flow. And then that's why sometimes after you get to know somebody, you're like, oh, why did I give up my good man or my good woman? And look what we got to take off. I never knew it was going to be like this. I never knew that that person had this issue or that issue. And you don't. How are you going to know? So, what else have we got? Why do people rave? Sometimes it's acknowledgement. Sometimes they want validation. Sometimes they like to be turned on. You know, the intimacy, the closeness of dancing. You're meeting people you would never buck up on in the real world. It's a challenge sometimes. Can I get him? Can I get her? You know, sometimes a rave is a place where you wouldn't dream of. You couldn't dream of meeting that person anywhere else but a rave. And some of these raves in central London, they bring in people from all different parts of the country. Birmingham, Manchester, Nottingham, Brixton, Bedfordshire, whatever. Lancashire, Hertfordshire, anybody can end up at a rave. So you get to see somebody who you would never have met. And sometimes it's a challenge when you see somebody, and depending on that person's state of mind, and you see somebody and you think, bloody hell, he's bloody gorgeous. Or she's bloody beautiful. I've got to get. And then the two of your eyes lock. And you're just like, bloody hell, there's potential here. I think he's going to come over and speak to me. Or I think she likes me. I think there's a chance here. Poof. The rest is history. So, I often wonder what goes on to people's minds when they go to a rave. And I'd be really interested in your comments. I've just been babbling on. And yeah, I'd like your thoughts. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.